Junpei pushed through the door and found himself in a large room with a large set of stairs. He put his hand on the handrail and leaned over to look down. There he was. And not just Ace, Santa, June, Seven, and Lotus as well. Junpei and Clover glanced at each other and hurried down the stairs. They reached B deck at the same time. Jumpy, Clover? June's face was excited. Something had happened. That much Junpei could tell by simply looking at her. What's up? Given their situation, he was not inclined to be excited about sudden developments. June, however, couldn't contain herself. We found it! Found what? We found it! What did you find? The last door. We found door 9. What? Come on, just follow us. We'll explain on the way. Okay, let's go. Oh my god, come on. Seven turned and jogged off down the stairs. The rest followed. We finally made it. The relief and excitement in her voice echoed what each one of them felt. Yeah, it's finally time. Junpei wasn't quite ready to believe they'd really done it, at least not just yet. Still, if everyone said that it was door 9, then it probably was. He could feel his heart racing. A mixture of anticipation and fear ran through his veins, and he could feel his legs shaking. He was doing his best to maintain a sense of healthy skepticism, but he couldn't deny that the prospect of escape was an exciting one. But there was one thing he couldn't get off his mind. The numbered door could only accommodate between 3 and 5 people. There were 7 of them on their way to door 9. That meant that even in the best case scenario, there would be 2 of them who would have to stay behind. 2 people. He didn't have any solutions to that problem yet, but he was desperately hoping one would present itself. Junpei looked over at the clock. The hands indicated that it was 4:30. They had 90 minutes before their time was up. Hey, Junpei, June, what the hell are you two doing? Hurry it up! Santa's voice jolted Junpei out of his reverie. Let's go, Jumpy! June took off down the stairs, jogging as quickly as she could. Junpei followed. As a group, they piled onto the elevator and rode impatiently down to E deck. It looked familiar. There was a metal grate between the 2 elevators. Seven grabbed hold of it and began to talk. I know I told you I'd explain it earlier, but honestly there ain't much to explain. After we split off from you guys, the 4 of us got onto the elevator on the left, and that took us to the other side of the grate. After that, they'd headed down another hallway. It took them toward the bow of the ship, and eventually to the number 6, that Junpei... No, it's the bow of the ship. And eventually to the number 6 that Junpei and June had found earlier. With 4, they'd been able to open the door and keep going. As usual, they'd faced a locked door that had been forced to complete 2 different areas before they could unlock it. Once they were through that door, there was another hallway that went in the other direction towards the stern. So, on your way, you found the elevator. Come on! This is stupid! That's right. So in other words, you kinda did a lap, huh? You came from that side to this side. Yeah. With that settled, Junpei looked around. So, where's the number 9 door? Over here, follow me. Seven began walking down the hallway that led toward the stern. Junpei and the others broke into a jog to keep up with him. They had been walking for a while, June in silent step with Junpei when she spoke. God, come on. You know, it's because of Santa that we're all here right now. Huh? That all 7 of us are going to door 9. You don't get it? Santa, 7, and Lotus. What's their digital root? 3 plus 7 plus 8 equals 8. No, equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9. It's 9. That's right. They could have just left me behind and kept going if they'd wanted to. But they didn't. Yes, because Santa wouldn't let them. He said we can't leave June behind. That's why we went looking for you guys. And then you got on the elevator and went back to the central staircase. That's right. Well, I wouldn't have called that one. That Santa would be the one to stick up for you, I mean. Junpei felt his eyebrows knit as he considered that. Oh, don't get me wrong. Perhaps June had sensed Junpei's concern. I don't mean that 7 and Lotus said they wanted to leave me behind. We were just talking about it, and Santa objected to it first. Junpei was about to respond when 7 suddenly stopped. In front of them stood a door. So is this... Junpei couldn't see 7's face, but he could see him nod. There's no other place for us to go? Nope, just look around. At the end of the hallway was a thick iron wall. To the left and right, other hallways led to the port and starboard sides of the ship. But they were both closed off by thick metal grates. It looked as though 7 was right. The door in front of them was their only choice. All right, let's get moving. He pulled open the door and walked in. Junpei took a deep breath and followed. It appeared they'd been telling the truth. The first thing Junpei saw as he entered the room was the number 9. Like all the others, it was a rough thing made of red paint. The door it decorated sat on the back wall of a rectangular room. Junpei ran up to it. It was a large double door with powerful styling. Something about it was almost majestic, and it made the red paint look especially garish. Junpei grabbed the handle and shook. It didn't budge, but then he hadn't really expected it to. The red was bolted to the wall next to the door. Its display read vacant. Finally they'd arrived. Junpei felt a flood of emotion wash over him. He felt a chill down his back, and his chest tightened even as his blood began to boil. He's about to speak when... Junpei, look behind you! He turned around. Junpei could scarcely believe what he saw. A door and a 9. There was another one. Hey, what the hell? What the hell's going on here? His words came slowly, and his brain struggled to understand what he'd seen. On shaky legs, he made his way to the second 9. It was a small door, set parallel to the door they'd come through, but in the other corner of the room. 9. There was no mistaking the number, and if any more proof was needed, a red was bolted to the wall near the door. Oh, sorry. Why the hell are there 2 doors? It was Ace who spoke first. Do you think perhaps one is the right door, and the other is the wrong door? Lotus was skeptical. I don't know about that. That seems unlikely. What makes you say so? Well, think about all the rooms we've been through so far. They're full of puzzles, but there are always hints about how to solve them. I'm pretty sure there aren't any rooms where we just had to go with our best guess and leave it to instinct to solve the puzzle. Do you really think that at the very end of the game, Zero's going to suddenly throw in something that depends entirely on luck? Then you're saying there's some sort of hint in this room? No, I don't think there's a hint anywhere in here. I searched it very well when I was in here before. I didn't find anything that might have been a hint, though. Well, then that means... Oh, God. Yeah, both of these are the right door. Come on. I mean, if you think about it, Zero never actually said there was only one door with a 9 on it. The exit is hidden, but it is there. Seek the exit. Seek the door that carries a 9. So if there are 2 number 9 doors, if we split it up right... That's not gonna work! Junpei blinked and looked up at Clover. She held out her hand. You've got a notebook and a pen, right? Can I borrow them? Slightly confused, he pulled them out and handed them to her. Look at this! Clover opened the notebook to a blank page and set it down on the desk. Everyone else gathered around her and watched as she wrote down a series of numbers. You get it? The numbers on the top are all the combinations with digital roots of 9. The numbers on the bottom are the people who don't fit. There's only 8 possibilities if we split up into 2 groups of 3 or 4 people. So, if 3 people go through the door, then 4 are left behind. If 4 go through, then 3 are left behind, right? Clover nodded, almost as if she were pleased with herself for solving a difficult math problem. The room went very quiet. Silence lay across everyone like a thick, heavy blanket. No one spoke. Their faces were blank. Desperate for something else to look at, Junpei turned his eyes to the room around him. As he did, he began to wonder what was it? The walls were covered with candles. The wavering flame made the shadows of Junpei and his companions look as though they were dancing. 2 rows of wooden pews filled most of the room. Between them was a strip of rich red carpet. The carpet ran straight through the room, ending at the door that pointed to the stern of the boat. At the other end of the carpet, an altar. It was a recessed space set into the wall between the 2 other doors. Sitting on a raised section of the altar was a coffin. A coffin. A coffin. A coffin. No, it couldn't possibly be. But if it wasn't, then whose body occupied it? That was as far as Junpei wanted to pursue that line of thought. He decided not to think about the coffin for the time being. At that moment, Seven spoke. There was an edge of humor to his voice, but it was forced. Okay, I give up. I give up. I figured if we sat around here long enough, someone would volunteer, but I guess nobody's got the guts to do it. Junpei didn't understand, and he wasn't the only one. What, you guys didn't figure it out yet? Fine, let me enlighten you. Clover was mostly right with her little explanation earlier, but she missed something. She wasn't really wrong, she just... screw it, let me just write it out. Seven snatched up the notebook and began to write in it. Everyone else clustered around him, desperate for a look. If you're trying to leave with a group of 3 and a group of 4, and get everybody out. Clover's right. But there's another way, only one combination though. If you split us up into groups of 3, 3, and 1, you can make this combination. Wait, this means... Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to copy Ace or anything like that. Even if he hadn't been the hero back in the big hospital room, I'd still be saying the same thing. The same thing? Are you saying... Yeah, I am. I'll stay behind. Well, why are you acting so heroic all of a sudden? Are you some kind of idiot? Lotus was the first to speak. That in itself was a little strange. She'd reacted much differently when Ace had volunteered. I'm completely against this. I'd be goddamned if I'm going to have to owe you for getting out of here. The rest of them began to speak all at once. I'm against it too. I didn't want to leave Ace behind, and I don't want to leave you either. I don't like that idea. There's gotta be other options. I disagree as well. I can't say I care much for you being the hero. Finally, they quieted down. Junpei looked at Seven. Well, there you go, Seven. Proposal denied. Clover's right. There's gotta be a better way than this. Seven made some noise that was somewhere between a derisive snort and a cough. Doesn't make any sense. He was doing his best to pretend they were making a foolish decision, but Junpei could see the twinkling of water at the corners of Seven's eyes. That was when Santa spoke. Well, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything yet. Until then, Junpei hadn't realized that Santa had stayed quiet for the whole discussion of Seven's fate. Something in his voice made Junpei uncomfortable. Are you agreeing? You want to leave him here? Santa shook his head. Nah, I'm against it. I don't want to leave Seven here alone. Then I don't see how it matters. I said alone. Eh? I said I don't want to leave Seven alone. There was a dull shine in Santa's eyes. They were cold and hard. Junpei felt himself shiver. What the hell are you... What, you don't get it? Can't leave just one person. I need 2 more. 3 people, including Seven. I'll be leaving behind 3 people. That's my proposal. No. God, come on. iPad? Those are my orders. What do you mean orders? What the hell makes you think you can order us around? Who the hell's going to listen to you? You all will. In 3 seconds, you won't have a choice. What? 3, 2, 1. Santa was so fast, Junpei could barely see him. When he moved, it was almost like watching a dance. His feet moving like lightning. He spun and... Ah! He had June. See, I told you. His lips curled into a cruel, mocking smile. A shudder traveled the length of Junpei's spine. His chest froze, and he could feel his breath go stale in his lungs. Nothing made sense. Junpei felt as though his head were about to explode. Santa's sudden change in attitude, saying that he needed 2 more, the gun in his right hand, a revolver. Santa had grabbed June from behind and pressed what Junpei's shaken brain identified as a revolver roughly against her temple. What was he doing with a gun? Where on earth had Santa possibly found a gun? Junpei's questions roared in his mind, but his mouth refused to ask them. Seven spoke, almost as though he had sensed Junpei's confusion. The gun's from the other room. What room? One of the rooms behind door 6. I should have known he was going to do this. I should have taken the gun. Well, it's too late now, fat ass. Damn it. A mixture of fury and frustration twisted Seven's face, and he glared at Santa. Santa, for his part, didn't so much as flinch. The corner of his lip twitched into a slightly wider smile. Then the smile faded and he began to move. He walked backward, dragging June with him. Before long, his back was resting against the door. On the wall next to him was the red. He put his hand on the scanner panel, quickly, and then forced June to do the same. Now, time for you to start following my orders. Ace, Lotus, congratulations. I've chosen you to come with me. Put your hands on the red. 3 plus 6 plus 1 plus 8 equals 18. That was what Santa had meant when he said he needed 2 more. Hey, you deaf? I gave you an order. Santa's eyes narrowed to slits. He glared at Ace and Lotus. They stayed, frozen, like deer caught in the headlights of an oncoming car. Right, fine. I didn't want to waste any bullets, but you guys just don't get it. No sooner were the words out of Santa's mouth than his hand twitched. And the gun roared. A section of the floor exploded, scattering wooden splinters across the floor. A thin plume of smoke snaked out of the hole in the floor. There could be no doubt that the gun was real and worked. But why? Santa, why are you... Clover's voice spoke of betrayal and disbelief. Santa, I thought you were one of us. I thought we were friends. What? You knew about the leaf gourd and the 4-leaf clover. Santa's cheek twitched, almost imperceptibly. What the hell is that shit? I've got no idea. You're lying! Shut up. Just shut up, you stupid bitch. You want me to put a bullet in your fucking head? Flecks of spit flew from Santa's mouth, his face twisted with rage. Clover recoiled, her eyes wide. When she spoke, her voice was very small. Santa. He snorted, then shook his head vigorously and turned to face Ace and Lotus. All right, assholes, what are you still standing there for? Get over here and scan those bracelets. I don't have all day. Oh, what's the matter? You're here and starting to go? Going senile, maybe? Ace and Lotus still didn't move. It almost seemed as if they couldn't move. June's face was pale behind Santa's arm. Her eyes were wild, and her chest heaved with every quick breath, like an animal cornered by a predator. Junpei's mind worked furiously. What were they going to do? Then he realized something. There was nothing they needed to do. There was nothing to debate. June's safety was the first priority. That much was obvious. Doing as Santa had commanded meant that she would be safe from at least 2 threats. She wouldn't be shot, and she would leave the ship alive along with Santa, Ace, and Lotus. There is only one thing for Junpei to do. He turned to Ace and Lotus. Please, go. Huh? But... Junpei, what are you saying? If you stay here, you're gonna be stuck, Junpei. And so will Clover and Seven. I know. But you don't need to worry about us. We'll figure something out. Right, Seven? Right, you just leave it to us. It's gonna piss me off to do what Santa says, but... Don't worry about me either. There's still something I have to take care of. But... No, you can't. Ace, Lotus, don't do it. Don't worry about me, please. Jin was almost crying. Junpei walked around behind Ace and Lotus. Without a word, he laid a hand on each of their backs and gently pushed them forward. They almost stumbled, then righted themselves and took another step, and another. They turned around, and Junpei nodded. Ace and Lotus turned around again, and walked slowly toward the door where Santa was waiting for them. After what seemed like an eternity, they stopped in front of the door marked 9. Santa smiled. Alright, now let's get those hands on the scanner panel. What's the holdup? What, you think I'm fucking around here? I don't give a shit about this girl. The red doesn't need a person, you know? All I need is the bracelet. You get it? Good. Now put your fucking hands on the scanner. I'm not gonna say it again. He shoved the revolver harder against Jun's head, and she winced. Fine. Ace sighed, defeated, and placed his hand on the scanner panel. Lotus went next. Lotus glared at Santa and slammed her hand onto the scanner panel. The fourth asterisk blinked on. Good job. Now, Lotus, pull that lever. Soon as the door opens, you get your ass in there. Try anything stupid, and you know what happens, right? Junpei could almost hear Lotus's teeth grind. The door slid open. Door number 9 opened at last. It opened with a low, powerful rumble, a drum roll to welcome the chosen few. All right, go! Lotus and Ace walked through the door, their eyes furious but defeated. Santa waited until they were all the way inside, then hauled himself and Jun across the threshold as well. 6, 7, 8. Waiter. After exactly 9 seconds, the door swung shut. The gust of air it created caused the candles on the altar to flicker and die. The room fell silent. Junpei, Clover, and Seven had been left behind. Clover looked down at her hand and traced with her finger the faint blue veins that crisscrossed them. Seven shoved his arms into the front of his overalls and scratched his stomach. No one spoke. Silence made the air feel thick and oppressive. Desperate for something, anything, to occupy his mind, Junpei walked to the larger of the 2 9 doors. He stood in front of it and looked at the red. It read engaged. He moved to the smaller door. The red read vacant. The digital root of the remaining people was 7. 5 plus 4 plus 7 equals 16. 1 plus 6 equals 7. There is no possible way for them to open a door with 9 on it. Unless they found Snake. Junpei touched the surface of the door. He thought about Jun, about Akane Kurashiki. Was she safe? That was all that mattered to him. If she was alive, if she had escaped this horrible boat, that was what Junpei prayed for. 7 came up next to him. He pulled off his hat, scratched his head, and sighed. So, what do you want to do, Junpei? What do you mean, what do I want to do? What can we do? 7 opened his mouth to respond when a noise echoed through the room. Someone was pounding on something vigorously. It wasn't mechanical. It was certainly human. Junpei and 7 looked at one another. Well, what the hell is that? Shh! Quiet! Clover motioned to 7 to be quiet. She put one finger to her lips and closed her eyes in concentration. The 3 of them listened, trying to determine where the sound was coming from. Where was it coming from? Could it be... Hey, I think it's coming from this coffin. You're right! Let's open it. But how? What are those messes for? For show? You're telling me to force it open? Just shut up and try. Junpei and 7 grabbed hold of the coffin. They tried to get a good grip with what little purchase they could find and pulled with all their strength. Sorry. Damn it. Man, it won't even budge. There is some sort of keypad attached to the coffin. Its purpose would not have been difficult to determine. Their eyes were almost immediately drawn to it. Not another one. Yeah, looks like it. Do you think we have to put it in the right password or it won't open? I think so. The noise wasn't stopping. In fact, it was getting louder. They had no idea who was in the coffin, but they wanted out, and they wanted out now. They had no idea what they were supposed to do. Without a passcode, it didn't seem like there was a lot they could do. Isn't there a hint somewhere? Well, let's look for one. Unfortunately, there didn't seem to be anything near the coffin. Clover ran to examine the pews, and Seven investigated the desk, but they turned up nothing. The sound still wouldn't stop. It wasn't a noise that belonged in that room. What was the passcode? What was Junpei supposed to do? How was he supposed to figure it out? He needed something. All right. Well, that was the coffin ending. This isn't the end. However, in order to process, you'll need to see a different ending. I think they meant in order to progress. The first time you are asked to select a door, choose 5, then 8, then 6, I think. So, this is the flowchart. I'm not really quite sure, so I'm assuming. These are the different branches. Okay. Alright, well, thanks for watching, everyone. I will try to get the safe ending, because you can only get the coffin ending if you haven't gotten the safe ending. And so next time I'll get the safe ending, and then we'll get the true ending. And normally I would try to get the bad endings, but I think I may just move on to whatever is next. So, but we'll see. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.